Hey guys, it's your girl K Divine coming back with another video. Um, Usually I'm more like, enthusiastic and ready to like give a message, but like this one's a little bit more personal, and it's a little bit more it's kind of hard to talk about and to get out because it's like I'm just thinking about my history and my my past and how it's affected me. But my message for today is we were not prepared for warfare. And when I say we were not prepared for warfare, I mean like a lot of us were not prepared by our parents, by our communities, by the people who claim that they loved us. We were not prepared for the spiritual warfare that a lot of us have been enduring lately. Um, what I have noticed recently is that, at least right now in this world, in America, there's a lot of stuff going on. As most of y'all know, there's a lot going on. It's a lot of drama going on in our governmental systems. It's a lot of stuff happening, and there's a lot of people who are still wanting to hang on to those outdated beliefs and want to hang on to stereotypes and it's not just people. I mean, it's systems. I mean, our systems are they're falling apart, um, as they should. But when I say like we were not prepared for warfare, I believe that the reason why a lot of us weren't mentally and spiritually prepared for a lot of the stuff that we endure on a day-to-day basis is because we have been battling warfare all of our lives. Anybody who has come from a toxic home environment, if you were bullied in school, and if you went to church and you didn't have that, you didn't feel like there was a community there, or your friends never really supported you. We've been going through warfare. We've been going through spiritual warfare all of our lives, and most of us, we were enduring it at home. I can say personally that I've been battling warfare probably since in vitro. That sucks to say, but I'm in the understanding right now that, like, you know, my mother never liked me. She has worked tirelessly to see me fail. Um and it's sad because it's like, when you sit back and you look back at like the way you was raised, like, you got to understand that a lot of our parents, they were not a lot of our parents were not equipped to be parents. And if you are a parent, or if you have the intention on wanting to have kids in the future, we have to do right by this new generation. We have to do right by them. We have to heal. We have to we have to grow up. We have to heal these wounds. We have to stop going into these toxic cycles, because it just repeats itself. It repeats itself, and we will continue to set up our children for failure if we do not do the work that we need to do. Um I'm gonna go a little bit deeper in on like what I mean by spiritual warfare, because or like, we weren't prepared for it, because if you're anything like me, you may be neurodivergent in some way, ADHD, autistic, um, any part of any marginalized group, whether you be black or, any other, race that's non-white, um, anybody who is disabled, you grew up already at a disadvantage because you were different. And for some reason, our parents couldn't love us through that. A lot of us were made fun of by like our parents were our first bullies, y'all. There's no there's really no easy way to say that. A lot of us, our parents were our first bullies. If you have a narcissistic mother and slash or father, um, likely you may not have good relationships with your siblings because your parents have turned your siblings against you, um, in an effort to, make sure that they could maintain control. And really, what it comes down to is like our parents were raised by people who had kids because that's what they were supposed to do. We have come from generations of trauma, especially those of us who, have, slavery in our history, or really bad just wars. I mean, like anybody who had to endure really, really hard times, like a lot of us have a lot of generational trauma that we have to that we feel, and that you may not understand or you may not know that that's what you're feeling, but you're feeling the generational trauma at this time. That's what this is. Also, people trying to hold up these systems that are really literally falling apart in our faces. But I'm gonna do just a little synopsis on my life, just so y'all understand where I'm coming from. So, I'm the black sheep. I made a video about being the black sheep. We don't talk about Bruno, which I'm gonna do a part two about that coming up, because there's something else. There's some stuff I want to add to that. But I'm the black sheep, um, and the scapegoat of my narcissistic family. My mother was okay with scapegoating me. And you have to understand that if you're the scapegoat of your family, you are the most outspoken. You have always been the most aware. Um, like you've always been different and you've always known. And some of your family members have been jealous of you because of that. Um, and they ostracized you. But the crazy thing is that they needed you though, because you were the glue to the family. You're the glue, because they put all of they negativity and everything into you so that they don't have to address the issues that are in the room. They don't have to address those issues. They don't have to talk about the stuff that's going on. They don't have to talk about the past and how it hurt. They put all of that pain onto you, and that's what you've been feeling all this time. And you just like, wow, like why me? And I know it's not it doesn't feel good to be in this position, but when you get out of it, it's something else. It's something else. Like you really start to see these people for who they really are. And these people couldn't have prepared you for spiritual warfare. They couldn't have prepared you to be strong, because none of them are. None of them are strong. The people, our society has normalized like pushing down our feelings and being emotionless and being cold and all this other shit. But really, being able to tap into your emotions and being able to call a spade and say, this is something that has hurt me. This is something that I don't want to deal with, anymore. I'm going to give it to God or the Most High or whoever it is you pray to. And I want to move forward in love and light. That is a very strong thing that most people cannot do, because they have to face themselves. And a lot of people don't want to face themselves because a lot of these people do stuff in the shadows. They do stuff behind the scenes that is really heinous and disgusting. These people have very, very disgusting behaviors. And being able to walk away from these situations with your head held high, and you don't go out explaining yourself, you don't go out looking for any validation or anything like that. That really hurts these people in these systems. That's part of the reason why shit is starting to fall apart everywhere right now. Not just in our own personal lives, but like globally. Shit is falling apart because people are choosing themselves over this bullshit. And a lot of people want to try to uphold certain like ideologies and things of that nature because they benefit from them, but they actually don't. At the same time, it's like if you benefited from it so much, you wouldn't have to fight so hard to keep it going. Like if it was so great, then it you would be able to keep going with it, but you can't. um I can say, I don't know, for those of us like millennials, I have to honestly say, like, I grew up in that, like, to me going into like middle school, high school, at the end of middle school, high school is when they really started talking about bullying more, because cyberbullying started to become a thing now that most of us were like, I mean, I came from the generation of MySpace where, we were way too young to be on MySpace, but we were on there anyways. And people were getting cyberbullied and things of that nature. Like I was cyberbullied at a young age as well. So it's like, you know, no one taught us how to deal with this stuff and how to deal with people coming at us and like this, people just trying to find something wrong. We were not prepared. We were not prepared properly for these things. And it can be difficult as you're trying to move forward in life, and as you're trying to find, yourself and find your way. Like right now, I can honestly say, like I said, like most of the time I'm enthusiastic about making these messages and stuff like this. But it's like today, I don't know, I'm just starting to really see a lot of stuff for what it is. And it's like and it's like I'm tired of people playing in my face. Just say what it really is, you know? And it's like I don't have no expectations of nothing anymore. For certain situations, and for a lot of people, I don't have expectations. Um because it's like I already know what to expect. It's it's hard, guys. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, we weren't prepared for this. I said I was gonna get into a story time. I'm sorry. Let me back up. So, as y'all can see, y'all see my necklace in most of my videos. My ankh. Um, I was raised Christian. I was raised in a Baptist church in Lansing, Michigan. My pastor, Pastor Nicholson, God rest his soul, he has gone on to be with the Most High. Um, he was very I even though I was really young when I grew up in his church, like I still remember like the impact that his preaching had on my life. And I'm not knocking anybody who is Christian. I don't identify as Christian anymore. I think I've said that several times on my channel. I identify as an omniist now. But I still value a lot of the lessons that I learned in my Christian background. But the reason why I did not continue on this journey as a Christian is because of my family situation. My mother married a minister. So I was a preacher's kid for 6.5, 7 years, however long they was married. It's been so long. They've been divorced longer now than they was married. And I grew up seeing some things that not not represent not a good representation of a preacher and his life. And I was always so confused. And now I see why I was made the scapegoat, because I asked too many fucking questions. And they didn't like that. They also didn't like that I was aware of things, or like that I understood certain things that are like, because I questioned things. As an autistic person, one thing I have noticed is, and because people always say like, oh, you like to know the why, and it's like, I need to know the why so that I can better analyze the situation. And I'm a very deep thinker. Like I think beyond what most people would expect, and I'm oftentimes misunderstood because of my deep thinking. I know that some people say like, autistic people, you used to think that you're psychic, but I'm like, actually, I think some autistic people are psychic. I like to think of myself as a psychic. I've brought out my tarot cards on the channel before, and it's like I tap into something that's deeper than any of this stuff, than any of this surface level bullshit. Okay, that's why I had to lean in to do this part of the video. But I grew up with a very try not to like cry, because tired of the motherfuckers getting my tears. I grew up in a very toxic household. It was so violent. And I'm not necessarily saying like violent as in like he was beating us all the time, because I mean there was physical violence in the home. I never saw my mom get physically harmed, but I definitely think that he put his hands on her. I wholeheartedly believe that. He definitely put his hands on us, me and my sister. But when I say violent, like, it was very emotionally violent. It was very verbally violent. Like, he would call us names, and he made it very clear that he did not really love us. Like when I say he was a malignant narcissist, okay? Like, at least to me, he was. I think to the public, he might have been more covert, because he was really good at hiding that his temper around certain people. He was really good at making other people, this is pure narcissistic. He was really good at making other people feel comfortable and good around him, while the people who are in his household, the people that he lives with, his children, his wife, his stepchildren, he was very good at making us know just how much he hated us, essentially, with the way that he behaved. I remember, like, even when I was really, really little, like right around the time they got married, and I was in like kindergarten when they got married. I couldn't read at the time. I was in kindergarten. And I remember, like, my mom was at work still. My sister would be off somewhere, some after school activity, and it'd be him and I in the house, and he'd be cooking dinner or whatever. And I would be trying to interact with him, and he would be like, go read a book, go do your homework. And I'm like, I don't. When I was in kindergarten, I was like, what's homework? I don't know what homework is. Go read a book. And so I just remember going to my bedroom and like just flipping the pages of my little picture books that I had until I fell asleep, until I was called that dinner was ready. I used to get beat up. I used to get whoopings. I used to get whoopings for small things, nothing, things he made up. It was all, and I remember like there was a time my mom never missed work. My mom has always been a good employee wherever she worked at, as far as I know. She's all, and if she was sick or something, she would definitely call and let them know. But there was one night when we were still living in Lansing. This was early in their relationship. Early on in their marriage. I don't even think they were a year. I don't quite think they were. I'm not really sure. I can't quite remember. I don't think they was quite a year in. Honestly, I don't think they were quite a year in. And they were fighting. They were arguing like all night long. I don't know what they were fighting about. And that's another thing I just want to point out real quick. Like, as a minister, to be like so verbally violent to your wife and yelling and screaming and breaking things when you have young children sleeping, it's like all couples argue, but it's not normal for people to be cussing each other out all night long and breaking stuff. That's just not normal. That's not normal. It's one thing having a disagreement, but going and breaking shit in the house because you're mad, that's not normal. But that, like I said, they was arguing for a really long time. And there was a point in time in the morning where my mom comes into the room like crying, like obviously distraught and tired from, like, I don't know what they were arguing about, and she's like, come on girls, get up, like, we're going. First of all, before I go further too, this was her house, by the way. This is the house that my mother bought, that he moved into after they got married. This was not his home. He didn't pay no mortgage or nothing on this house. So it's like, this was my mom's shit. And she was telling us that we was gonna leave our house because of him. Just want to point that out real quick. But she's yelling and screaming, like, come on girls, like, get out of bed, like, let's go, like, get dressed, like, we're gonna leave. And then he comes in behind to talk about some, lay down, don't get up. So me and my sister are both looking at each other, like, obviously very scared, very confused. We're like, who do we listen to? Because my mama is telling me to get up, but this man is telling me to lay back down. And so we listened to him because I wasn't about to get smacked. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And then the police came. Because like I said, my mom never misses work, and it was a weekday. It might have been like a Monday or Tuesday. And it's like I said, my mama never misses work. Her boss was so concerned that they called the police to do a welfare check at the house. And then, then he goes and answers the door. The police are like, we just, we came to do a welfare check. Karen's boss says that she didn't show up to work today. They're just trying to make sure that everything's okay. And he's all calm at the door. Oh yeah, everything's fine. We're good. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And then the police leave, and then I don't know. I don't remember if they argued some more or not, but then we ended up going on some weird ass trip. Like, we ended up going, I don't remember where we went actually. It was cold outside, and like, it was a strange trip. It was like him making up for the day in a way, but it was just like, this was just pure narcissism, guys. This is the same man who would get up every Wednesday and Sunday and preach to all 5 of the people in his church congregation. But would turn around and go home and was actively cheating on my mother before and during their relationship, or before their marriage, I should say. Like, while they were still dating, and when they got married, he was actively cheating on her. How do we know this? Because right before they separated, not before they got divorced, right before they separated, There were pieces of mail coming to our house, paternity tests and like court stuff of like 2-3 different kids from some people that were in Lansing. And it's like, you got multiple baby mamas and illegitimate children running around this place. After my mom and like after they separated and she took us away, I was 11 at the time when they got divorced. We had looked up one of the girls' names that was on one of those court documents. We found her on Facebook, and she looked just like his eldest daughter. So we were like, that's definitely his kid. So it's like this man, and he's still, as far as I know, he's still running around as a minister, as a preacher. He's, the last time I checked, he was on his third wife. They've been married since like 2011. She's just as toxic. You have to be toxic to stay in a relationship for a long period of time with that man. Because at this point, you know, it's been over 10 years. Like, that's a long time to be in an abusive relationship. Because abusers never stop abusing, guys. They never stop abusing. So the cycle will continue. And that man never went to therapy or anything. He's also a criminal. There's a lot of lawsuits. Last time, like when I was in contact with my mom, you know, a couple years ago, like she was telling me that she had looked up some court records and documents, and he was being sued by some of his former employers. Like, that man's a whole criminal out here. And I know that a lot of people are like, what does this have to do with Christianity? It's not just about Christianity. It's the fact that I was raised with these Christian beliefs, but I was never, I have yet to see, like, at least in my experience, I have yet to see and come in contact with a fully honest Christian. And I'm not saying that they gotta tell me all their sins. I don't want to know all the shit that you do behind closed doors. But be transparent that, like, I'm not perfect and I done fucked up and did this shit over here. I done messed up and I did this, that. I've yet to meet one. I have been demonized. While I was still a part of Christianity, I have been demonized by so-called Christians. I have been ostracized and set aside and thrown away by Christians. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you're just church hurt. Like, it's okay. No, I'm not church hurt. I'm not church hurt. I have yet to meet a person, and I'm not saying that they don't exist. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Christianity. It just doesn't resonate with me. But I have yet to meet, in my personal life, a Christian who will stand 10 toes on their belief system in the Bible and in Christianity and actually fully live that to its core. I have yet to meet one. They claim that they love Jesus, but these are the same people who would have watched Jesus on the cross and would have been cheering. Okay? These are the same people. And to grow up in a household where Christianity was weaponized, you know, they weaponized Christianity for control over us, and that doesn't sit right with me. And I see a lot of people using that, like, you know, in politics now, people, you know, there's supposed to be a separation of church and state, and a lot of people are using the Bible and their religious beliefs on legislation, and it's just like you're weaponizing it now. Like, and like I said, I have yet to meet a Christian. I have yet to see one where it's like what they say and how they behave and all this other stuff. Because, you know, there's a lot of people I know. I've come in contact with a lot of different types of people who claim that they Christian and they, oh, I love God. And it's like, but they got a mouthful of scripture and a heart full of hate. And a heart full of malice. These people go to church and mass and all this other stuff every Sunday. They be in Bible study. They can quote the Bible back and forth. But when it comes down to how they treat people, they don't. And this is why I'm saying, like, we weren't prepared for warfare, because a lot of us grew up in these Christian households where we were basically told that we were supposed to be obedient to toxicity. Like, my mom would say things to me like right around the time I had my daughter. And that's when I started kind of going through my awakenings, because I was just like, you know, I needed assistance and help and all this other stuff. Like, I understood what I was getting myself into. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. You know, it wasn't ideal for me to have my daughter the way I did, but I believe that my daughter was a blessing regardless. I don't care what anybody says. My baby is one of the greatest blessings that I have ever received in my life. And I would not change that for the world. Like, yeah, it's difficult being a parent, especially in times like this, but my daughter is wonderful in every way, shape, or form, and I would not replace her for anything. I would not. I can't imagine my life without her. But right around the time I gave birth to my daughter, you know, I needed my family to be there to assist me, to uplift me, to make me feel better. You know, I wasn't necessarily looking for money or anything. I just was looking for support, like positive encouragement, like, you're doing a good job, you know, like that's really what I wanted. Like, I never asked them for nothing. I didn't ask them to buy clothes and shoes. I didn't ask nobody for that stuff. I said, hey, if you want to give a gift, I will appreciate it. If you want to give me a gift, I will appreciate it. I have no problem. You know, I have no problem with it. But I didn't beg. I wasn't gonna beg nobody for nothing, because I was like, if I was working still at the time, and I was like, if I gotta get my baby something, I'm gonna get it. But it's like, you know, even at my job, them people who I told y'all before, you know, they were stealing money from me. They got a whole group of people to go up against me. They was paying people to turn their backs on me. And a lot of those people who were doing it claimed to be Christians. They go to church every Sunday. Same shit. So anybody who comes to me and tells me they're a Christian, I take it with a grain of salt. And you could take that however you want to. I don't care if that offends somebody. I don't really know what it means to be Christian for a lot of these people out here in these streets. And like, I still utilize the Bible for, you know, passages and things. Like, I still believe that there are good passages and good substance and messages that I can gain from that. But I look outside of Christianity for answers, because I feel like at least the God that I serve is too big to be placed into one religion. I feel like we can find truth in all of them, or at least some of them. You know, at least the ones that I've come into contact with so far. That's just me, and that ain't gotta be for everybody. But me growing up in toxic environments and in a very tumultuous household that basically told me to not trust my intuition, because I knew instinctively the entire time that I was growing up that something was wrong, because my body was telling me that something was wrong, but I wasn't allowed to feel it. I wasn't allowed to question it. I wasn't allowed, like, when my mom was doing certain things, like, and I remember, like, people would say things to me in like middle school and high school, like, that's your mom, don't say that about your mom. And it's like, fuck that bitch. And I hope she sees that. I hope she sees this. Fuck you, Karen. I really hope you see this, because I know what you did. And for everybody, all of my former classmates, because y'all was never my fucking friends, like, for all of y'all who, I mean, not that I expected y'all to know back then, but for those of y'all that listened to the shit that she was saying and you didn't come to me, fuck you too. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Fuck every single last one of these people. Like, we were not prepared for warfare, guys, because we've been in it all this time. They never wanted us to be able to go against systems and go, because we've been fighting it with our parents this entire time, our families. Even my family, who don't eat, my family don't even like my mama. And so they, honestly, nobody likes anybody at this point. None of them really like each other. Okay? Nobody really likes anybody. They, as soon as somebody leaves out the room, they talking shit about them. That's just how my family gets down. That I don't understand it. That's some weird ass shit to me. But they don't even like her. They think she's crazy. And they all told her that when she married that man that she shouldn't have married him. And I don't know what she told them about that relationship. And I can almost guarantee you that whatever she told you, she played the victim. But I can honestly tell you that she was very complicit in a lot of things that that man was doing. And she stood right next to him. Because you know what she loved to do? She loved to say, my husband. She was one of those. She's a pick-me, as far as I'm concerned. That man was never shit. He's still not shit. I hope he see that shit too. And his kids. I hope all of y'all see this shit. Your dad's not shit. He's a terrible person. And if you still support him, you're a terrible person too. My mom wasn't shit either, so it's okay. I'm fine with that. My sister, you ain't shit neither. Like, all of y'all. Fuck all of y'all from my past. Fuck everybody. Because, you know, what y'all put me through, although, yes, it has made me more aware and stronger, I could have been doing a lot more stuff. All of us, guys, I want to make that clear. Like, all of us could have been on way different paths. We could have all been doing a lot more stuff if we had people around us that were supposed to, like, the way that they're supposed to be, trying to be supportive and real with us. But we didn't get that. We didn't get that. And, you know, my mom set me up to be sacrificed. And I got gangs of people looking for me right now. I know what you did, Karen. I figured it out. With my witchcraft, if that's what y'all want to call it, I guess. But the Most High told me to. I use my oracle decks and my tarot decks to look into some of the situations that were going on. And I alchemized those situations, and I'm doing return to sender. And a lot of y'all motherfuckers are scrambling. Not my problem. You didn't prepare me for warfare, but I learned to survive through it. And whoever's watching this message, like, I really want you to understand, like, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. The weapons will form. And they may strike you, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. But if you hold out, hold your peace, and keep going, you're gonna see the end of it. And even though I haven't quite seen the end of this situation yet, I know it's coming. And I don't know what I gotta do. I don't know what I gotta do to keep pushing forward. But I get up every day and I do what God tells me to do. Whether that be resting, whether that be writing, reading, whatever. I do what the Most High tells me to do. I'm trying not to cry. I don't cry too much on my platform already. Shit just started. But thank you for all the views I've gotten so far. Just this being about, you know, me having this channel for about a month or so. Thank you so much for all of the support, guys. I would like to see more interactions with you guys. Please comment, like, and share my content. Um, you weren't prepared for warfare, but you're a fucking spiritual warrior, man. I don't know who I'm talking to. You're a spiritual warrior, and we weren't prepared, but we're fighting through these battles, and we're gonna be okay, and we're gonna be victorious in the end. I'm seeing the Six of Wands in my mind's eye. Like, we're gonna come out on top in these situations. There, things will turn around. It's been a long time coming. Yeah, we've been going through a lot. I know a lot of us been going through a lot for a very long time, but we gonna be all right. Yeah, I love y'all. I'm gonna do some more content today and tomorrow. Just look out for that. But it's your girl K Divine. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.